You are listening to a Called Collective podcast where we seek to equip the next generation of ministry leaders. The Called Collective produces multiple podcasts, which you can find in the description below. To learn more about the Called Collective, visit our website at thecalledcollective.org or check us out on Instagram at The Called Collective.
Hi, and welcome to Coffee and Calling. I'm Levi. We're excited to have you back.
My name is Paula. I am excited to be with you guys today. And today, once again, as always, we have a special guest.
So special.
So very special.
Dude, I'm psyched.
Me too. His name is Bryce, and he's with us today for the first time. It's actually his first time doing a podcast ever. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So, first timer.
But he has podcast vibes.
For sure. Like we've
100%.
been chatting for, 6-7 minutes
minutes
now, and we should have just, that should have been the podcast, really. There's just been so much
stuff,
interesting
so much depth,
information.
and
Yeah.
A lot of deep content.
Yes.
Yeah, it got crazy.
Bryce, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us what year you are, what you're studying, and what you do. Like, what's your job? What are
you're
your
up
hobbies?
to these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Bryce Conley. I'm a junior here at IWU. I'm an RSLC on campus, or hall chaplain. So I get the privilege of getting to know younger guys in South Hall and just investing into their spiritual lives, investing into their lives. I actually just switched my major from biblical and theological studies to Christian ministries.
Okay.
So that's a new step for me. Yeah.
Great.
Why'd you switch?
Honestly, just the course load.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like I needed more of the practical stuff.
Sure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Really?
like homiletics and
Yeah. That's good.
Yes.
Good stuff.
For those of you who don't know, homiletics is a preaching class.
Yes.
Where you learn how to preach, which is pretty cool. I was having a conversation with someone. When was it? I don't know when. But they were asking me, they were like, so what do you learn in ministry classes?
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
"We
hard to
learn how
explain
preach."
to people. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hard. Yeah. So we have this little segment that we like to ask a fun question to our guests. And so my fun question to you, Bryce, just to get to know you a little bit more, is if there was, think of any reality TV show that might include dating that you know of, and what Bible character would you want to see on a dating-based reality TV show?
ooh, okay.
As the main or as a contestant?
Take it how you want it.
Okay.
Okay. As the main guy, Samson comes to mind.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Immediately.
I mean, he's probably a good-looking dude. I mean, he's jacked.
Out of his mind.
He's got the hair.
And that's a prerequisite to get on one of those shows. So
Is
fair,
it?
long hair. You gotta be pretty good built.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
You're
Mhm.
gonna be in a bathing suit at some point. So you
48-inch chest.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. Just because of looks, or just does he have any characteristics that
Yes,
you think
vibes.
would?
I want to know more of his character, the
Yeah.
way he speaks, the way he acts. Was he a smart guy? We only have
Yeah.
a few lines from him.
Well, also he was sort of manipulated by Delilah,
Mm.
so he's bringing in that traumatic heartbreak that kind of
Yeah.
adds into his dating experience. This
this
is good.
Before death or pre-death?
We're just we're assuming that he made it into the kingdom of heaven,
Okay.
and so we're
Yeah.
kind of just bringing that character back.
So heaven reality show.
Heaven reality show.
Eternal love, if you will.
Sure, even though
Whoa.
that's
Yes.
completely heretical and it doesn't exist, and we don't condone that kind of ideology, just for the game's
Yes,
sake.
for the sake of it.
That's great. Okay, so what woman in the Bible do you think would be a good counterpart for this reality TV show?
Can't be Delilah.
Mm.
Can't be Delilah because
Okay.
they've already. There's too much past there.
Yeah. Man, I'm going to say for Samson's counterpart, I'm thinking Esther,
Great.
because she was a great
Really?
person.
What a queen.
Yeah, she was a queen. He's kind of a king that didn't get his crown, I feel like.
Oh, that
you
was
know,
poetic.
Wow,
so-
that was a bar.
That was good. I love that.
I feel like, okay, maybe this is just me, but I feel like Esther's too mature for Samson.
Oh,
That's the point, though. I feel like someone has to be
Oh.
pushing somebody in the relationship.
Well, now we can
She
get
doesn't wanna
into
be a
it.
mom.
They're unequally yoked, though. I mean, what?
Oh, okay.
I could see an argument either way there. Yeah. Wait, is she a mom?
No, I'm saying she
No.
wouldn't want to be his
She
mom.
wouldn't wanna be his
No girl
mom.
wants to be her husband's mom.
Right.
So she would have to, be the mature one.
But he's handsome. I think you forgot
Oh,
that.
that's so true. But he's got a 48-inch chest. What more do you
come
need?
on.
Yeah, dude. I saw this one thing. It was like, I don't know what to get my girlfriend for Christmas when she already has me. Like, what else would she need?
Love the humility.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really lovely. All right.
That's so funny.
Let's stop the jibber jabber.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. Bryce, let's hear about your calling story. Obviously, you're called into full-time vocational ministry. So tell us the story of how that came to be and where you think God is leading you.
And could you also, because I know that you came into IWU a little bit like later in your life's journey. Can you tell us how you got here at some point as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, full disclaimer. I got like 3 hours of sleep last night. And
Great.
this story is also still kind of nerve-wracking for me to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to get into it. And thank you guys for having me on. So, yeah, coming into IWU, I was going to take an internship, a co-internship under my co-pastor. And I was going to work full-time at my church after that and take his position for the young adult pastor. He was going to go to Florida and become a psychology professor. And obviously that didn't end up happening. I was going to buy a house. Like, I was like, man, this is the next stage of my life, God. Like, I know you've called me to work in full-time, ministry or be a pastor or whatever, which, I've still been kind of wrestling with that. Like, that was such a mountaintop moment of my life, coming out of like almost a lifelong time of struggle and running away. Like, I'm like, I finally feel like I know what my life is supposed to be. I finally know what I'm supposed to do to like build God's kingdom. And then I feel like when he called me here, I feel like it all kind of got taken away. Like, what am I doing coming back to school? Like I thought I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I don't understand why I'm going back. I didn't finish out school. I went for 2 years, but I didn't get any sort of degree. I was just gonna kind of stop going to school and just work at the church full time. But I got my calling in a time for me that was like, I had like honestly like a David Psalm 51 moment. Like, I had a lifelong time of running from him. I kind of had a falling out at from the church at 16. And from my family kind of falling apart and just the normal family structure, running from responsibilities, not necessarily passing school. Like, I don't know how I passed high school. Like, not that I wasn't smart, I just didn't do work. I just wanted to run away. I was angry. I was hurt at people. I didn't understand why life was the way it was. And so, yeah, I was 21 years old and I was playing football at the University of St. Francis, actually my freshman year of college. So I didn't go to college until I was 20. Took 2 gap years. I lived in Fort Wayne. I ran away right out of high school from my parents' home. I was like living around in Fort Wayne in a bunch of different houses, a bunch of different people, but decided I needed to go back to school just because I was lonely. I just wanted community so bad. And I wanted to find myself, and I thought going back to school was the way to do it. But it was so funny how God was present through all of that. And so I'm 21. I just made one of the worst decisions of my life. And it was just a come to Jesus moment. Like, if I continue living this way, like first of all, I'm going to be nothing. I'm going to have no impact on anyone's life. And like, I'm going to be a waste of a person. I'm going to be a waste of a life.
Yeah.
And so, kind of classic. I heard a Jonah sermon and, the classic statement, like, are you running from God's calling on your life? And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's me. And that was from my home church that I had left when I was like 16. And so that would have been, oh my gosh, like the middle of May 2021. And then, I didn't have a relationship with God at that time. I was just starting to read the Bible again. It was summer camp, at USF. And I'm reading the Bible, reading these devotionals. And like one night in my room, I just start bawling. Like, and I'm sitting on this beanbag. I'm sitting on this bed. And I hear this voice, like a thought, say, if you want to know me, you have to get uncomfortable.
Mm.
And I'm thinking,
Wow.
what the
Wow.
heck is that? Like that was not my thought.
Wow.
And then at that moment, I was like, okay,
Wow.
I feel like that was God, but didn't really have 100% confirmation.
Yeah.
And yeah, since time has passed, I know that I was so comfortable in my sin and that I had no idea who God was. I
Wow.
wanted to know him so bad. And I thought I could live this double life of like, God is going to bless whatever I do because I believe in him.
Mm.
But I didn't realize a life of obedience is completely different from believing in him. Like even the demons believe. So it was
Yeah.
really
Wow.
tough to come to that realization. But it was after that, little steps. It was little steps. And the presence of the Holy Spirit got stronger in my life, though I had no idea what it was. I had no context of what was going on or this feeling or the thoughts, the Holy Spirit or the scripture coming to mind. So I'd go to the park every day, read scripture. And I remember it just hit me one day. There were so many times in my life when I had come to like an achievement and it didn't get me what I thought it was going to get me. And I was going to get a scholarship to play football. And that was kind of what I wanted to help out with school. But I didn't really go back to school for school. I wanted to go back to find friends, to be liked, to play football.
Right.
And so, I'm going to go into that meeting. And I remember sitting in my room, just having these thoughts just flood my mind and just a ton of peace. Like, you need to move back home. I'm thinking, what?
Wow.
Move back home? Like, there's nothing there for me. Like, my relationship with my family is torn apart. My dad and I, we don't talk. Like, we only talk if I'm asking for money. And so I'm just like, I don't understand this, but I feel like I need to do this. There's no other option. So I eventually told Coach Donnelly, shout out, and then went back home, got plugged into my church through a small group. It was like a basketball pool party kind of small group. And I got reconnected with my friends who we had a falling out. They were kind of my best friends back in church when I was younger. And they just loved me with open arms for who I was, despite my flaws. And like, I was like just an open book. I told them everything I had done. And like, they just loved me. And I felt so welcomed. So I started going back to church, and it was 2021, like December. So Passion Conference, that was a big part of it. They were like, hey, you need to go to Passion Conference with us. They had won me a free ticket, and it was at Passion Conference that I heard the Lord speak for the second time, except it was not like a whisper. It was like so audible. And I just
Yeah.
remember feeling his like from that moment on, like something changed in me drastically. Like I felt like that was the moment that I was going all in with Christ. And I heard him say, I was just praying actually during worship. And I was like, man, Lord, thank you for this job. Thank you for these people. Like, thank you for what you've done in my life. Like I don't deserve any of this. And I remember hearing him say like, all of these things are good. I'm proud of you, son.
Wow.
And so, yeah, from that moment on, it changed my life. And I started working at the church, just volunteering. We started a young adult ministry called H3. It stood for Hunger, Humility, and Heart. And the Lord he just blessed it. Like it was his idea in the first place. And, it started with 10 young adults that we knew. We just brought them, invited them to church to hang out. Then it was 75, then it was 100, then it was 200. And we've since parted ways. And that family actually moved to South Carolina. So the young adult ministry has since like diminished drastically in numbers, but they still have a ministry. They still do stuff. But it was so fruitful. And just seeing a lot of those young adults go back to school or even receive their callings in vocational ministry or full-time ministry in the church, and just the relationships that were formed. Like I had a lot of people speaking into me during that time, and they were like, we think you're called to be a pastor. We think you're called to be this, which actually, if I could be honest, and for anyone out there who still struggles with that, I still struggle with that every day.
Yeah.
Like wondering, like, how can I know my vocation? So.
Do you want to speak into that a little bit more with maybe the doubts that you're having now with your calling to ministry, and just how you overcome those, how you deal with them?
Yeah. So with doubt, the thing is, I think it's okay to doubt with God. Like, because Jacob wrestled with God, and a lot of times he was the one who wrestled with God, right? Don't want to misquote that. Okay.
100%.
No, you're right.
Got his hip
Yeah.
dislocated. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing I think that's so beautiful about that, which, you know, you hear this often, is like he came out with that hip injury, but now he's walking and relying on God's strength every day of his life.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. I feel like my doubts don't equate to who God is and what he can do. So just seeing and how faithful he is, and like, I don't even know what's going on in this season of my life. Like I'm broke. My grades aren't the best. Life circumstances have been coming at me like punches
Mm.
from an opponent from every side. And it's like, God has been so faithful though to meet my every need. And it's easier said than done,
Yeah.
but a life of obedience and who you're becoming and your character is so much more important than the actual practical thing that you're doing. So
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. So what do you think is going to be the biggest temptation for you in ministry? What do you think is going to be maybe the hardest thing to push through or overcome in ministry?
Yeah, the immediate thing that comes to mind is honestly complacency.
Mm.
Come on.
Complacency, I think, kind of being apathetic, being lazy.
Yeah.
Like it can feel, I'm sure, like it feels scary to know that that's what you're called to, and like it can
Yeah.
feel like right off the bat like you have to be in control of all these assets right away. But it's like, no, like let's take it day by day. Let's take it step by step, class by class. Like let's try to be more in the moment,
Mhm.
Yeah.
with how that character comes, how the skill comes, because those are all still things I think you have to hone in on. But I think right away, like, let's say, you get the position at a church, you get the opportunity. Like, I think for me, even I get to a place where I think I've arrived, and I think it's because of something I've done. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, like I deserve this. Like, oh my gosh, and can tend to kind of forget that like this is literally God's story, and I just
Yeah.
find myself in it.
Yeah.
So
You talked a lot about like obedience and what obedience means, and what did you say? It was something about like you can believe in God, but being obedient to God is like what matters. How do you have daily obedience? Because obedience is obviously not something that we can like figure out and just like do and have it all be perfect and have like the Lord bless us and just immediately, but it takes like daily obedience. What does that mean for you?
yeah, daily obedience. Yeah, actually, I feel like that's a huge topic to dive into that I'm still learning every day. I feel like it's something you're always growing in. And because every season looks different, I feel like obedience is like a structure of discipline, prayer, communion, and community. But I think the most important aspect, even for me, is remaining humble.
Yeah.
Like so many times throughout the day, like I feel like even disobedience sometimes, not to sound legalistic, but it can be a mindset,
Yeah.
of like, okay, I'm focused on what I'm going to be doing for the day, and I won't allow God to disrupt me to do something amazing or to use me in somebody's life. So I think remaining humble is a huge part of obedience, and having that heart posture of like listening to God, like Paul talks about, always being in continuous prayer, like meditating on scripture, having it ready, having it on hand, taking time out of the day, starting in the morning or whenever. It's not more spiritual to start in the morning, but just starting.
So true.
It is. It's so much more
Okay,
spiritual.
whatever.
So much more spiritual. Yeah, just setting your day right and getting your relationship with God right, which we can't really do. I just think we
Right.
yield. I just think we yield.
That's a good way to put it. Dang.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe speak into that and give your wisdom a little bit more on some ministry, people who are called into ministry that want to abide in God, who want to be with God, who want to be disciplined people, but also detach their identity and status with God with their disciplines. Maybe if you have some wisdom on your journey for that, just detaching legalism and to their relationship.
Wow, that's a good question. The first thing, that comes to mind is definitely being teachable. Like I think realizing, you know, Dr. Morgan, for instance, awesome theology professor, like he's still learning.
Mm.
I'm sitting in class and thinking, man, if he knows what he knows
And he hasn't arrived.
and he hasn't arrived, and it's
How far are
like,
we?
oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like theology is, I'm like, oh my gosh, all I know how to do every day is
Yeah.
put my socks on, get my clothes on, go to school. Like, what do I
Yeah.
actually know? Like,
Yeah.
I just think you have to remain teachable.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the rest of your life. And that's from everybody.
That's good.
So what was your question again, Levi?
Dude,
So
I
can better
forget, but
answer
that was good.
We're talking. That was good. We're just talking about like legalism and your obedience and like detaching, because I think a lot of kids, and I mean anyone, any new
I
Christians
think we're still
are
trying
like,
to figure it out.
yeah, we're all like, it's just about what we're doing, and it's about the obedience in the actions. And how do you like separate your legalism or your obedience in actions from your identity and from the way that you serve the Lord and from the way that the Lord loves you? Because sometimes it's through our actions we're like, oh, I'm reading my Bible, now God loves me
Right.
and he can use me.
Yeah, and I think even maybe the words detached is wrong, because I think what you do does have a component to who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not
Yeah.
separating the idea of action and identity. I
Yes.
think your identity kind of flourishes out of your action.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that everything that you do and everything that you've done is your identity
Yes.
is where we get it reversed. And so,
Mm.
yeah, if you have any wisdom on how you find obedience, maybe through your identity and not maybe, fear of going to hell or
What you're doing.
Yeah, trying to find identity through efforts and performances.
Efforts, that's a good word,
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, John Piper, shout out.
Big
Shout out to
shout out.
Desiring God podcast. John Piper, he's one of my favorite pastors and speakers and preachers, and he had a sermon that I heard this summer that I feel like delivered me from legalism.
Come on.
Wow.
He said, to the degree that you are not more thrilled in your salvation or to be saved, you will live in legalism the rest of your life. Like, I think we have to find joy in our salvation
Okay.
and who God is more than anything else. And this was his
Right.
words. He said, imagine getting to
good.
heaven. Jesus looks you in the eyes and he says, what did you enjoy most in the life that I gave you? And I say, I enjoyed the ministry, the house, the car that I had, like my wife. But I don't look back in Jesus' eyes and say, you, Lord,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for you.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. I was like, whoa.
Right.
And he also goes on to say, I think one of his best friends, he had a lifelong ministry. He passed away a week before that sermon, and they didn't prepare this, but it was on the same verse that John Piper was coincidentally preaching on. He said, he sent John Piper an email, I think, a month before he passed, and he said, John, I cannot look back on a lifelong of ministry or what I've done and gain any sort of comfort or peace or satisfaction or achievement from any of it. He's like, it was in my relationship with Jesus Christ. Yeah. I think it all comes from that.
Yeah, and I think what you're touching on is at times we can replace Christ with our service to Christ. We can replace the comfort, security, safety, joy, love, and peace of our Creator with what we're doing for our Creator. That's really, really good. That's so good. I want to go back to just a shout out transition to Dr. Morgan. I remember there was one time in our class where he said, pretty much, if you have a bunch of zeal for ministry, if you have a bunch of passion to do God's work, but you have no substance, if you have no theological training, if you don't know what you're talking about, but only passion, then you're just a clanging cymbal, and you are going to be a mile wide and an inch deep. And I still remember that picture. And at that point, I was like, that is what I am. I'm a mile wide with passion, and I'm an inch deep with how much I know God.
Yeah.
So to transition a little bit, how would you say to the future ministry leaders that are listening right now, how important is it to go deep in God and not just have a bunch of passion and fire and zeal and heart?
Mm.
How important is that? Okay, maybe study, maybe unglamorous works to actually know who God is.
Wow. Yeah, that is an amazing question, especially I think for young adults our age who are in school, who are going through training. Like Jesus' ministry didn't start till he was 30. Went through a
Right.
lot of training. He went through
Yeah.
a lot of time in Scripture, a lot of time spending with God. And shout out Jay Money, Dr. Morgan. I can't remember who said this, but empty trash cans make the loudest noise. If you toss a rock into an empty trash can, that thing's going to make a
Dang.
lot of noise. So without love, you're going to be a clanging cymbal. You're going to just be
Yeah.
making noise. And I think the other thing is, if you don't have the character development to sustain, like, first of all, it's God's and he's giving it to you. It's
Yeah.
it's to build his kingdom. It's his ministry. Then, like, first of all, you're not going to be able to sustain it. You're going to make a fool out of yourself. You're going to make a fool out of God. And I just think what we need to do, and I'm still learning this too, like, I don't know a whole lot on this. I'm still, walking through like kind of a dark corridor with lights here and there, with the word of God to light, each step in front of my feet. That's it. I think being
Yeah.
being in the word, being close to God, again, daily obedience, but also I think just being careful with being okay with not like acknowledging what you don't know.
Come on.
I think
Oh wow.
acknowledging you're not gonna, like, we know in part now, so it's like
Yeah.
just walking day by day, staying close to God. Yeah, what was the question again? I feel like I had something else come to mind, but I can't remember the question.
We were talking about just like how important it is to be deep with the Lord and how like passion is not going to get you
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Again, with the zeal, like you can be zealous for anything for a short amount of time.
Mm.
Like, how often do we want the next new thing? But
Yeah.
yeah, just being with God, spending devotional time with God, and not just alone, like in solitude, but we do need that, but in community,
Yeah.
because you can get somewhere
So
alone, but you cannot go far
Mm.
alone.
Yeah.
I'm so serious. Like, I've even had to learn something that's been humbling me, especially this semester. I think one thing we talked about on our walk here was like, this semester did not go how I wanted it to. And I realized it was because I was focusing so hard on my grades and isolation
I see.
that, like, week 10 hit and I looked around and I'm like, I have nobody like supporting me. I feel like nobody knows me.
Yeah.
I feel alone. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, did I waste all this time? And then all the questions, all the doubt comes in. I think doing community together, I mean, God is a relational being. God is love. And he created us to do relationship and community together.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's another crucial aspect
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
really good. Yeah, and I think knowledge is great because it makes us deep and it fills us, and we're not just it doesn't lead us to a place to just say things that are empty and fun, but it does lead us to say things that are of spiritual meat.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also what I know about knowledge. Knowledge can take us to a place of humility, and it also can take us to a place of pride.
Mm-hmm.
It can take us to the point where we think we know everything, or it exposes that we don't know as much as we think we know.
Yeah.
And so with our study and with our Devo time and knowing God and knowing the character of God, with a bad heart posture, it's going to fill us with pride, and it's going to say, I know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You come to me for the answers because I got it. Or it goes, you know what? This knowledge actually explores many other questions that I didn't know I ever would have had. And now that I've learned this piece that I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
how much more is there that I don't know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's knowledge is a great thing. Studying is a great thing. But it can lead us to two different destinations depending on our heart posture.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's definitely a balance needed there. And I think I want to go back a little bit in the conversation about talking about passion over ministry, but like with a lot of students, and I know there's a lot of people who get called into ministry and they think like, why should I go to college? Why should I study ministry if I like am just gonna do it anyways? You don't need a degree. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I'm like, I don't need a degree to do ministry.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've all been there, and we're all there sometimes. Still, like
100%.
even now, I'm like, why did I do this? I can just
Right.
do it on my own. But I would have known nothing if I
Nothing.
have been
Oh my.
at this
I'm
point.
actually scared of what I would have said and what I would have done if I
Exactly.
didn't come to college.
Exactly. If I wasn't 4 years deep in education
Oh,
with
Lord have
ministry, and
mercy.
I was 4 years deep just in ministry experience, I would like be scared. Like my sermons, my like theological training, what I'm telling the young girls in my small group,
Mm-hmm.
I would not want that stuff out there because
Yeah.
the stuff I knew at 17, just based on my own like time with the Lord, which granted it was good. Like I was deep with the Lord
Yeah.
at 17,
He was revealing himself to you.
but like the stuff I learned in theology, like, are you kidding me? I would have said so many heresies. I would be literally bringing up a generation of kids
Yeah.
who like probably didn't even understand the Trinity, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so going to school for ministry and being called to do ministry and taking that next step of education is so important
Right.
and like so needed.
Mhm.
And that's not to say you can't do it without
100% you can.
education, because you can, but it just adds something and it just allows you to be humbled. But also on the other side of the coin, like when you spend too much time in education, you can lose that passion for ministry. And I will admit there has been times or a couple months where I'm just lost the passion for ministry because
Mhm.
it's like I've done so much knowledge and I know everything, and then you're just like, I don't know, it just like it's not there anymore. So there's
Yeah.
two sides to that coin, but you need to figure out a healthy balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think getting the training that we're getting is, like you said, a humbling experience.
Yes.
I'm
It
not
should
gonna-
be.
Yeah, I'm actually scared of what like I said, I'm scared of what I would have put out there before I came to college.
Yeah.
But also that makes in 5 years it makes me think, what am I
Yeah.
scared of that I'll say now that I should have known?
Right.
So it's definitely a humbling thought. So Bryce, within your call to ministry, what is some advice that you would give to teenagers that feel called to the ministry? What advice, little nuggets of wisdom do you have for them? Maybe that you found out within the struggle that you've had and maybe the successes that you've had.
Yeah. You need to be surrounded by people who love you and who support you, but not because you're going into ministry. Don't make that the number one priority of your life. I don't think you need to be obsessed with the vocation.
Mm.
I think you need to live your life and love people and be loved by Jesus. Like sometimes those are the hardest things to do. It's the simplest truth, but the hardest one to accept.
Yeah.
Literally that Jesus loved us and died for us and rose again so that we could be with him, redeemed for all eternity. And that, I think that just simplifies life. Like the people who are around every day that we walk with, that we see in the hallways, that we go to class with, that we're just called to love them first and foremost and love God. And so I think it's an awesome thing getting your calling to ministry that early on in life. But if you're like me too, I tend to obsess with the doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I just forget about like everything else, the simple stuff,
Yeah.
and all that stuff will come in time, trust God's timing, trust that, your elders, they care for you,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not what you want to hear, even if they're giving you advice, they're trying to protect you in the long run. I think, stay close in the Word, stay close with God, have friends that, have a close group of friends, guy or girl friends you can go to that you guys do personal Bible studies with. Like obviously staying in the Word, your relationship with God is important. But also, I think praying and asking God to, this is one thing I do still every day, is like, God, like prepare my heart for, how you want to mold me, shape me, change me, And like, God, may I just have humility to receive the work you're trying to do in my heart. So I think just staying prepared, but not making the vocation the main thing, you know, because it is an awesome thing and it is a big part. I don't want to separate that. It is, like you said, Levi, it is a huge part of who we are, but it's not all of it. So, yeah.
Well, Bryce, it's been great having you. We have this last section of the podcast where we like to just affirm our guests. And so, bro, you are such a wise dude. You have such a zeal for the Lord. You have such a desire for the Lord. And what I admire about you is I can tell your fire for the Lord is not from what the Lord can give you, but it's a true unconditional love that you are willing to sacrifice your life. I can tell that you are a living sacrifice for the Lord. And that is your one desire, is to please your Father in heaven. And it's just so encouraging to see someone, especially our age, to have that passion for God and to know God and want him for simply him. It's really a beautiful thing, and I thank you. You're the best, dude.
Thank you, Levi.
All righty. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been great.
Thank you, Bryce.
Thank
It's
you,
been
guys.
awesome, and your wisdom and all of that. I think a lot of people have a lot to glean from this podcast episode.
Yes.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.
Deuces.
We'd also like to take a second to thank the School of Theology and Ministry at Indiana Wesleyan University for using their facilities. We want to thank the Call Collective for producing all of our podcasts. The Call Collective seeks to equip the next generation of ministry leaders. To find out more information, visit at thecalledcollective.org or check us out on Instagram at The Called Collective. Thanks for listening again and taking time in your day to have the chance to be formed by the conversations we have over coffee. See you guys next week.